Welcome back everyone, hope everyone's well. So I'm just going to give you a few little updates on a few trees I've been working on, one of them being my crabapple. I took along to a workshop at Bonsai Club on Sunday, and I just air layered the top, so hopefully in a few weeks time I should be able to take away the top of the tree away from the trunk, which I don't like, and start with kind of a straight trunk line. So yeah, fingers crossed that will work. The other thing I've been working on is I've got a little Chinese elm which I was given, which my friend took from a cutting, and what I want to do with that is, again, I want to air layer but just above the base at the minute, and see if I can get a better root spread, because it's a bit of an ugly base to it really. And I've been restructuring. I've cut it back quite hard, but I'm going to see what branches I get and see what I can work with, and see if I can get a nice little shohin out of it. I think moving forward with some of the discussions I've been having with a few people, and even thinking in my mind, I think I'm going to start looking at keeping shohin trees predominantly, just because in the long run, as I get older, they're going to be easier to move around. If I want to show them, I can take a few along at a time. I don't have to try and cart big trees around and worry about how I'm going to fit them in the car. So yeah, but we'll have a little look round. I'll show you what I'm up to, and yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so here's the crabapple. As you can see, I've got an air layer going on here, and like I said, I hope within 6 weeks we're going to get some roots, so I can take the top of the tree away. I'll still end up with, there's a branch at the back that I'll possibly end up with still attached to this trunk, and this branch coming out here will still be attached to this trunk. But what I'm hoping for is a lovely little shohin tree off the top of there. I'm never going to get rid of this tree, but it really does bug me with this trunk line. Now I've sort of grown a little bit in bonsai, I know that's not very natural, and ideally what we strive towards is looking for something that's very natural looking. We don't want it to look man-made. We don't really want it to look like we've touched it at all. So like I said, fingers crossed that that works. Here's a hawthorn I've been working on for a few years now. I was gifted by a friend. When I initially got the tree, it was in a very small pot and it hadn't been repotted in some years. When I took it out of the pot, there was a concertina of roots which I needed to deal with. So what I did was I removed as much as I could get away with, and then I put a tourniquet on just above those roots, and eventually over time, as this grew, the wire bit in and it then forced roots out just above the tourniquet. And I left it for a good 2 years at least before I then took it out of the pot again to have a look, and fortunately for me, I got a perfect root spread. So this year I managed to remove the bottom mass of roots, and now I'm left with a perfect root spread above it. So my next thing is to try and build a structure on top. And last night at club there was a beautiful little shohin hawthorn, looked very similar to this with the trunk looking all craggy and lovely, and it just gave me a few ideas. So I think now I kind of know the path I'm going to choose with this tree, so I'm really excited. This will need to be cut back now, I think, because this is going to be, I might use it as a branch, I might get rid of it, but I don't want it to thicken anymore here. So possibly I'll just take it back to here until I decide fully what I want to do with it, and these are going to be my branches, and I'm going to make a nice little shohin out of this tree. Here's a little Chinese elm that I was gifted again by a friend. He took it from a random cutting, so he basically just was trimming his Chinese elm and he stuck it into a pot and it rooted. So yeah, he gifted it to me because he was sort of trying to thin out the amount of trees that he had. And my plan is with it, at the minute, what I want to do is I want to air layer somewhere around here and try and get a decent nabari going, make it a little bit shorter than it is. I also want to deal with this second branch because of the placement of it. It kind of makes your eye follow over here when the first branch really at the minute is kind of here, but I'm not really sure, but I think it's probably going to be the front is somewhere around this side, but we'll see. But what I really want to do with this tree is I want to do it step by step with you guys, and we'll try and again get a lovely little showing going, because I like this little bend here. I really do. There's something about the tree, and I need to make something beautiful from it. So what I might do is, if I deal with this branch first, and I think what I'll do is I'll do the air layer later on down the line. Obviously, you know, it's not a race, so I need to do one job at a time. I don't want to put the tree under stress by, like, you know, taking off the bark and doing an air layer and taking this branch and trying to get it to heal. We need to do it very, very slowly. Yeah, I'm going to deal with the structure. Once I get the structure how I want it, then I'll move on to doing the air layer. Okay, but again, I'm going to have to deal with some of this branching. It was a lot taller, and I chopped a lot of it down, and it threw out all these buds. I've got, you know, buds that are popping here. I've got one here, so I'm going to be quite vicious with it. I think it's kind of an experiment for me, really, because I've never got a Chinese elm like this and started really hacking it back. So that's what we're going to do. A little project that I started this year was I bought some hedging plants and managed to get some nice little maples, and what I want to do is I've put them in this pot for now. This isn't final. I know they are just sticks in a pot at the minute, so they've got a long way to go. The plan at the minute is just let them grow. I'm going to, though, things like this, there's a little bud just on this one that I really want the light to get to. I want that to grow more than this, so what I might do is chop that down just to there. Just gives that chance to take off. And I also want to go in at the tops and just pinch back the tops as well. And you know, you probably normally would just leave it to run, but I kind of want it all to be equal and all run, and I don't want it to take off at the top. I want to try and keep the growth as low as possible, really. So I'm not going to go too mad. Like I said, I'm just going to take out the tops, just take out the terminals on the tops, and that lower branch there needs to be rectified before that little bud there dies back. The plan moving forward is I'm just going to let it be in this pot, but I want to try and either get something a lot deeper pot wise, or potentially I will put them out in the ground somewhere if I've got space somewhere, and thicken them up, but as a group. And I'm also going to play around with placement as well. Like when I put these together, it was quite late at night. You know, I've been rushing around with the girls, didn't really have the time to be doing it, but the hedging plants turned up and I just had to get them in a pot. So I'm well aware that this is far from perfect at the minute. You know, there's a lot going on that needs to be sorted, but the main thing is at the minute is they're all growing. So yeah, I'm gonna sort out this growth, feed them heavily, just let it run, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Not get in the way while I'm doing this, but all I want to do is go in, just take those long runs out the top. Just, I think that'll do. Okay, and then I'll just go and get a branch cutter and we'll go in there and that. In fact, Let's just take this guy out here. Yeah, so I didn't take much off, just enough to try and keep it all equal. Okay, last little job then is just to, like I said, shorten this a little bit. And I'm literally going to take it back to there. You see it's just opened up where that little bud is. It'll give that a chance to take off. We'll get a little bit of cut paste on there as well. I wasn't sure what the growth was going to be like, hence I left it on there to see, you know, if it needed it. But we don't need it because we've got that little bud that's popped out. So for now we'll leave that as is. Like I said, I'll feed it, get some Biogold on there, maybe some Naruco, and just let it run. Okay, there's a little Hawthorn. I think while I'm there, I'm going to just, I know it needs to come off, I'm just going to just take this off quick here. Okay. Let everything else try and take off now. Let's get a bit of cut paste on the end of that as well, and I think I will then leave that be, if I'm honest with you. A little bit of, there's no point in me taking that all the way off, because if I decide later on down the line actually I could have used that, then I'd regret cutting it off. But let's see how it does. I have to worry about the trunk having to be too thick, because that's about the right height where I want it. It's now just a case of letting everything thicken up a little bit and harden off, and I can work out if I need these or not. At the minute I need them for energy for the tree, but later down the line I might even decide I want to remove certain branches, you know. Like I said, I might even want to get rid of this. There might be no need for that, because I could possibly use something like this in its place, slightly bit higher. I know this is going to have to come a bit lower, but let's see what we can do with this now. It is how it is, but yeah, I even like it at the minute. It's got a lovely bit of character on the bark, and when it flowers it is beautiful. It's the little sort of pinky red flowers. So yeah, let's leave it be now and just keep it fed and watered, and let these do what they're going to do. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. If you like the video, could you please press the like, and if you haven't subscribed already, could you press subscribe? That'd be great. And thanks for taking time out your day to watch my video, and take care, and I'll see you all soon.